Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 8th of July and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis. So guys, in the video we are going to take the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper along with the background as well as the way forward. Now guys, the synoptic notes that I will be using here, you can download the PDF of the synoptic notes from the Telegram channel, and the link for Telegram channel is given in the description box. Fine, and you can also search in the Telegram by the name Thinking Palette by Sahil. Now, first of all, let's see the overview of the newspaper to identify that which articles are going to be important for our exam. So here we have the page number 1, and on the page number 1, the first article we see that the Boris Johnson has resigned as the Prime Minister. Drama ends in the Britain. So guys, over the past few months, the Boris Johnson's conduct was questionable. It was said that he had adopted the standards of indecency. Okay, he had considered himself as above the law. Then there were the many scandals that were there, such as the Partygate scandal of the UK, and by that his popularity got declined, and many of the crucial ministers from his cabinet also had resigned recently. Now finally he had resigned. However, beyond that, this is a political issue of UK. You don't need to go into the deep. Then, in Bali, meeting with Wang, Jaishankar raises LAC issue. So, guys, around the line of actual control from the from the 2020, there is the kind of a crisis going on between the India and China. Galwan Valley violence was there. Okay, and then there were many of the crucial patrolling points that were captured by the China. China is now building the infrastructure around the LAC. So, this particular thing is creating the tensions, and this particular thing has been discussed. However, guys, these kind of dialogues basically they happen every after few days. Okay, so with respect to the exam, much of the content is not there. However, these things is just being raised. Then guys, further moving on, after that the political news, Supreme Court to take up Zubair's plea on liberty protection. Fine, nothing is important again in this particular direction, just please move on. However guys, here we can see this particular thing that the monsoons getting hotter than the summer. So this is a CSE study that has been conducted. So in this particular respect, environment, climate change, fine, geography, we'll see this particular article. Then moving on, after that we have the city section. In the city section, the regional issues, okay, regional issues, etc., political issues, advertisements, etc., have been given. Okay, nothing guys is important in this particular direction. Fine, again the advertisements, okay, etc., fine, you can see. So moving on in this particular direction, as we move on here, just to see one particular article, it says that POXOs applies to the Muslim girls who have attained the puberty. Now guys, with respect to the child related issues, we'll see this particular article, and I'll show you that sometimes how the judgments they become conflicting, and this they create a kind of a confusion. We'll see this particular article along with one more article that is there. Then guys, further moving on, Kerala Assembly passes a resolution on ESZ, fine, regional issues, fine. Okay, then further in this particular direction guys, as we move on, plastic cups, straws still in use in capital despite single use plastic ban. So over the past few days we are seeing this particular article multiple times. Even we have taken that the single use plastics, they are to be now banned from the July. Why? Because already into the 2021 plastic waste management rules have been brought, and these plastic waste management rules provide that two things are to be done. Number one, the plastic single use plastics such as the straws, cups, stirrers which are used only one time, they are to be banned completely. And secondly, it was said that the poly bags, the poly bags that you use, their thickness is to be increased to 120 microns at least by December 2022. So this single use plastics, they are still being used. Now this is guys the problem in India. What the problem I am talking about? We don't have the lack of laws are there, institutions are there, but the problem is always of implementation, and this example we can see here. Now within the article you don't need to go into the detail, but guys understand that it will also have one more dimension. Fine, alternatives are expensive, and how they will be affordable to the roadside vendors. So this is also one more dimension that is there. However, in this article, nothing relevant or substantial with respect to the exam is contained. Then further, we reach to the editorial page. The first article talking about ending the Ukraine war in an imperfect world. So guys, the article is talking about that how the Ukraine war is leading to a humanitarian crisis, how so many people are suffering, economical devastation has happened, fine, and all these kind of things. Now you see that this Russia Ukraine issue is very much evolving one, okay, and there are new developments that are coming the every other day. So guys, every day this particular issue, it is not to be seen. Once this particular thing will reach to the culmination, fine, you see that what has happened, fine. So everyday articles coming on the same theme are not required to be seen. A community and a health issue of concern, so we'll see this particular article which is talking about the LGBTs, okay. Then guys, just fine, so this talks about the environmental amendments that have been proposed recently by the government. We'll see this particular article. Disorderly exit, so guys, it is again talking about the exit, the resignation of the prime minister of the Britain, fine. Then should the ATP and WTA merge? Okay, so guys, this article is talking, it is about the tennis, okay. So basically, Association of Tennis Professionals and Women's Tennis Association, should they be merged? What will be the benefits? And all these things are provided. Fine, with respect to the exam, nothing important. Then guys, further moving, making sense of a rupee slump. So guys, basically we see that now the rupee is declining, and there is the 6% value that has been lost by the rupee in front of dollar. Now why the rupee is declining? From past few days, I think multiple times, even into the past this week, two times I have discussed this particular thing, that why rupee is declining. Number one, the FPIs, they are outflowing, okay, they are outflowing. Number two, this particular thing, because in India we see inflation, the rupee is declining. Is it clear? Fine, chalo, anyhow, moving on. Text and context page, the turbulence in the airline. So this particular article talks about the Spice Jet issue. Fine, basically the Spice Jet, it has been given the notice by the DGCA that they need to take the air safety more considerably, because there were certain lapses in the Spice Jet. Now nothing is important with respect to the exam, because if it could have been about the industry, this could have been important. Then the proposal for India specific norms on assessing vehicular safety. So this article is good one with respect to the road safety in India. We'll see this particular one. Then Metaverse is being discussed, okay. Then guys, further moving on, after that, Vivo sent 50% of sale proceeds to China, okay. Center to promote the dragon fruit cultivation, okay. By the way, dragon fruit has been renamed as a kamlam, okay, because dragon looks like Chinese, okay. So government is thinking to increase the cultivation from 3000 hectares to 50,000 hectares, okay. It will be generating the remunerative income for the farmers. Even the export potentials of the dragon fruit is also there, so we want to do this particular thing, fine. But you don't need to go beyond this particular thing, fine. Then the political issues etc have been discussed. Here you can see that the new education policy, how it is developing the confident youth, has been mentioned. We'll see this particular article. Then further moving on, Chhattisgarh gets node to the school project under the World Bank. Fine, good article. We'll see there are some issues that we are going to see in this particular thing, the constitutional issues that we are going to see in this article, fine. After that, too early to gauge BA.2.275 says expert. So it is talking about the variant of COVID-19. So fine. So guys, the COVID-19 vaccines, all these things, please leave it now. Fine. Because not important for our exam, and these things again, as I said, that are very much volatile. Then set up as MSP panel as promised, Congress tells the center. So guys, this is again the political dogfight that is going on. So basically the guarantee was given that on the MSP, fine, minimum support price, whether it should be given as a legal guarantee will constitute a committee. Government said this thing. Now the Congress is asking them to do that thing. Okay, fine. Then after that, the Brexit to exit, again the Prime Minister Johnson's exit is being discussed, fine. Then guys, the Russia-Ukraine war is going on. Employee perk free from GST. So guys, the GST ruling has come. For example, there is an employer, okay, there is an employer, he is giving some perk to the employee. For example, he's giving him some kind of a benefit, okay, so any kind of a perk. Let's say he's giving some kind of a perk for let's say he's giving the money for joining a gym subscription. Now this is a perk. On this perk, GST cannot be charged. This is something that has come. However, we are not preparing for the CA exam, so we don't need to go in these rulings and all these kind of things. Fine, such kind of questions are not asked in our examination. Then fine, international air traffic at 79% of pre-COVID level. So guys, now the air flights, they have been opened up. International air travel has been opened up. So civil aviation is recovering back. So around 79% has been there. and it is expected that around 92% to 93% recovery will be done by 2023. So this is good thing with respect to the civil aviation sector, because always civil aviation sector happens to be in some kind of a losses. Fine. Then RBI move to stabilize rupee may face economic hurdles. Okay, so basically, you know that a lot of FPI's outflow is going on. So these hurdles they are talking about. Fine. GST invoice and all these things are then not important. And then we have the sports page. So guys, this is the overview or a snapshot of the entire newspaper. And now let's discuss all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Now, so we start our every session with the GS quote. So today we'll be taking the quote from the founding father of the US, Thomas Jefferson. So Thomas Jefferson says that the information is the currency of democracy. So guys, it is actually a very impactful quote. Information is the currency of democracy. So as the currency, as the physical currency keeps economy functional, in the same way information keeps the democracy functional. Without the dispensation of the information, citizens will not be empowered, will not be enlightened. So therefore information and free flow of information, find neutral information's free flow is very important for the functional democracy. You can use this particular quote in the GS paper number 2 as well as in GS paper number 4. In the topic number 7, information sharing is mentioned. So in ethics topic 7, information sharing, also this particular quotation can be utilized. Now let's take the first article. So guys, the first article we have taken is from the text and the context section, and it is talking about the recent proposal by the government Ministry of Transport about the India specific norms for assessing the vehicular safety in the collisions. Now guys, understand this particular thing first of all, that what will be the context where this article is going to be important. So this particular article is going to be important in GS paper number 3 infra. This article is also going to be important in both GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 3. Fine. Conserving our demographic dividend. How it will be important in this particular thing, conserving our demographic dividend, I'll just tell you in few minutes. Now before going in this particular article guys, just let's keep it at side. First of all, let's discuss some of the background things which will help you to understand this particular article and which will help you to make even more sense of this article. So let's discuss some basic things. Guys, when we talk about India, there are large number of road accidents that happen in India. According to the data by the National Crime Record Bureau, in 2020, 1.3 lakh people died in the road accident. Now 1.3 lakh people died in 2020. Now it is because the 2020 the lockdown was going on, so lot of traffic was not there, still 1.3 lakh people died. And if we see the data in the preceding year, for example the data in 2018 2019, then according to the NCRB, National Crime Record Bureau, as well as the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, on average every year 1.5 lakh people they die in the road accidents. Guys, at the same time, according to the World Bank study, India has just 1% of the vehicles but 10% of the road fatalities, 10% of the fatalities fine are happening in India. So India is very much unsafe in terms of the road transportation. Now guys, during this particular now as this particular thing is going on, the 2021 to 2030, this particular decade is being observed as the decade for the road safety. Even we have the sustainable developmental goals in this particular regard. So SDG provides that by 2030 the countries need to reduce their road fatalities by 50%. Now India had taken even more ambitious target in this particular line. What ambitious target India has said? India has said that we will reduce the fatalities by 2024 only. Okay. However, recently the Minister of Road Transport and Highway had said that we'll do it by 2025. Okay. So the question is that by 24-25 we have to reduce the road fatalities by 50%. Now how this particular thing will happen? This particular thing will happen by two ways. Number one, we need to make our road infrastructure safer. And secondly, we need to make the transport vehicles more safer. Now in this particular direction, making the car more safer, enforcing the safety norms become very much important. And in this particular direction now, this particular article we are going to see. So guys, if you have all this particular information, now first of all, these data in itself are very much important in your answers. If you are not substituting your answers with the data, etc., you will not be able to get the above average marks. Now I told you that this particular article is going to be important for this, that conserving our demographic dividend. Now guys, this article talks about the car safety norms that the government is now bringing. Now obviously, if the cars will become safer, less number of people will die into the accidents, and our young population, fine, the advantage that India will get because of the young population, the demographic dividend, it will be conserved. Okay, now let's see that what this article is all about. So guys, coming to this article now. So basically, the government has announced that they will introduce the Bharat New Car Assessment Program, Bharat NCAP. So guys, around the world there are the new car assessment programs in the different regions. For example, there is the Euro NCAP. Okay, then other parts also they have the NCAP. Now what happens into these standards? Basically, the vehicles will be tested that what is their safety during the times of collision. So you might have seen the NCAP test onto the YouTube also, that okay, this car got this many stars, 3-star rating, 4-star rating, 5-star rating. So who gives these a 3, 4, 5-star rating to the cars? These are the NCAPs. In India, up till now, we don't have our indigenous car assessment program. So the ratings are taken by the Euro NCAP or some other NCAP is taken. So now government says that we'll come out with our own car assessment program, which will be called as the Bharat NCAP. It will give the star based ratings to the vehicles in the crash test. So guys, it has been provided that what will happen, 1 to 5-star rating will be given, and what parameters will be there? The parameters will be the adult occupant protection. So basically, within the car there are certain dummies that will be placed, okay, and the car will be collided, okay, and then will be seen that okay, whether these dummies are incurring some kind of injuries or not. So how much safety to the adult is given, what impact has come on their head, on their chest, okay, on their knees, etc. Then the child occupant protection. Okay, so if there is a child also traveling in the car, find the safety or the impact on the child. Then safety assist technologies, for example the EBS, EBD, okay, these systems are there into the cars or not. Fine. So in these particular test, the frontal impact will be studied. What will happen if a thing collides from the front, side impact, door opening after a crash, all these things will be taken up. Now guys, basically when we talk about this Bharat New Car Assessment Program, Bharat NCAP that we are bringing, okay, first of all, these NCAPs, they focus specifically onto the child, the impact that is made onto the child restraint system. What are the child restraint system? So guys, you might have seen into the Hollywood cars, because it is not common in India, that in the Hollywood cars, even in the car seat, there is a specialized seat that is kept on which a child will sit. So these specialized seats that are meant for placing a child within the car, they are called as the child restraint system. So the impact, whether what will be the impact on these child restraint systems, this also will be taken up here. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that these car rating, car crash test, or the Bharat New Car Assessment Program that we are coming now with, they are different from the motor standards that exist in the countries. Motor standards, they just see the road worthiness of a vehicle. They are not concerned about safety. They just see that okay, onto the road a vehicle can operate or not. So actually already we have the motor standards, fine, but safety crash standards we were not having, and now we are bringing. Moreover, keep this particular thing in mind, that even a 0 rating, if it is there on the NCAP, still the vehicle can be sold in a country, okay, and in our country also many of the 0-star vehicles, they are being sold. Now understand this particular thing, that actually global NCAP, it is a standard for entire world, but the regional NCAPs, as the Bharat NCAP will be a regional NCAP, it will take into account the local conditions. Okay, so in India the local conditions are different than the conditions in America, in Europe. So these local conditions will be taken up. Now guys, what will be the benefit of this particular Bharat NCAP? Now as this NCAP will be taken up in India, and every car manufacturer has to test their cars onto this particular thing, the people will become more aware about the star safety of their car which they are going to buy. and some conscious consumers, they can make more meaningful choices, they can opt for the more safer cars, and in that thing the fatalities, the accidents, the injuries will be reduced. Secondly guys, it has been provided that, see, India, when we talk about it, India wants to be the number one exporter of the automobiles. Automobiles is a very big component of Indian economy, so it will increase the export worthiness of our vehicles also. So if we want to become a big exporter of the cars, obviously we need to have some testing mechanism also. Then it has been provided that it will create competition on safety parameters into the different manufacturers. The manufacturers will compete with each other, and at the end of the day the cars will become more safer. Then it has been said that it will also instill the consumer confidence in the safety of the cars. This is also going to be important. And secondly, this particular thing is very crucial in making the automobile industry Atmanirbhar. Okay, automobile industry Atmanirbhar. We want to become the number one exporter of automobiles in the world. So these are guys all these things. And see, this is the entire Bharat new car assessment program. And see this, now understand, you just don't need to understand this concept, rather you need to understand the implications that will be there. It will make India Atmanirbhar. Then all these particular facts that I have discussed here guys, just please note them down outrightly in your notebook. You should use in your answers. Now moving to the next article. Chhattisgarh gets node for school project funded by the World Bank. Now guys, now this particular article we will see under two perspectives. Number one, we'll see this particular article under the perspective of the polity, okay, GS paper number 2, polity GS paper number 2, and second, it will understand this particular thing under the perspective of the education. Again, it will come in GS paper number 2, social justice, developmental sectors, etc. Now first of all, let's read the heading of this particular article. It says that the Chhattisgarh gets the node for school project funded by the World Bank. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that the Chhattisgarh wants to get some money for bringing the education reforms, and it had applied for a 300 million loan from the World Bank, and this particular money will be used for infrastructure and all such kind of things. Now basically guys, one particular constitutional provision I wanted to discuss with you here. So basically, whenever now the Chhattisgarh is a state, it is approaching World Bank, which is an international body, and it is asking a loan from them. Loan and grant are different. Grant are something which is given and you need not to pay back. Loans you have to pay back along with the interest rates. So whether the state governments have authority that they can approach to an international body and can raise the loan. So in this context, we have the part 12 of the Indian Constitution, and within the part 12 there is a chapter 12. Okay, sorry, chapter 2nd. So part 12 and chapter 2nd of the Indian Constitution, it has the provisions with respect to the borrowings by both the central government as well as the state government. Now under this particular thing, we have the article number 293. So article 293 into the part 12 of the Constitution. So it provides that the state governments, if they want, they can take the funding, they can take the loan from the international institutions. Within the country also they can raise the borrowing, but they have to take the permission to the central government. They have to seek the consent of the central government before raising the borrowings. Is it clear or not? Now the provision which has been written here, that if they are indebted, now guys, every year there are the money that are being transferred by the center to the state also. Fine. Now the states, okay, almost all the states, they have some debt of the central government. They want to borrow money from international body, they have to take the permission of the center. Which article says? Article 293. Article 293. So now the Chhattisgarh is asking money from the World Bank. So obviously they have to take approval under Article 293, and the central government has now given the approval. Center has given the approval, the World Bank has given the principal approval, and in some time this thing will happen. So guys, with respect to your polity, even your prelims examination, these particular things you need to know. Moreover, this particular thing you also need to know as a part of the center-state relations. Now basically guys, let's talk a little bit about the World Bank funding in the education that is going on. So guys, first of all, the World Bank is supporting the education in India since 1994, and as a part of the World Bank support in the India's school education, the grant, loan, both have been given by the World Bank. Recently guys, the World Bank has also approved one particular project, that is the $500 million project, which is called as the STARS project. STARS project. Is it clear or not? So what was this STARS project? So guys, this STARS, it stands for Strengthening Teaching, Learning and Results for the State Program. Now this STARS project that has been approved by the World Bank, it wants to improve, number one, the quality of education, second, the governance of the school education, and keep it in your mind, very important for the exam, this STARS project, it is not for the entire country. STARS project is for the 6 states. Okay, what are the 6 states? These 6 states are Kerala, okay, Maharashtra, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, okay, and Odisha. Okay, so these are the 6 states that are there. Now the Chhattisgarh was not the part of this STARS project, so they have raised for new funding from the World Bank. Okay, so guys, many of the conceptual aspects we have seen in this particular article. I hope that they are very much clear to you. So that is all for this particular article. So guys, article 293 and all that important. Moving to the next article now. Okay, so this particular article we have taken from the page number 1, and it talks about the recent report released by the CSE, that is for the Center for Science and Environment. Now this particular article, guys, we can just use as a reference point in our GS paper number 1. In our GS paper number 1, find geographical phenomena, find climate changing patterns and all these things. Even we can use in GS paper number 3, that is the environment. Again, in the environment, the climate change, the impact on the climate change, all these areas we can use this particular article as a reference we can use. Now first of all, I'll tell you what has happened. So basically the Center for Science and Environment, which is an environment group, it creates environmental consciousness, it releases its report onto the changing environment and all these kind of things. It has provided that over the last few years, the monsoons, even the period of the monsoon is getting hotter. We know that the period before the monsoon was always hotter, and but you might be knowing that during the monsoons we used to say that okay, it is a respite that has come from the summers, but no, now the period of monsoon is becoming even more hotter. So guys, you just focus on this particular infographic that is given here. So the report, it has compared the temperatures with the 1959 and 1980 baseline. Okay, so from 1951 to 1980, these 30 years, the temperatures have been compared, and it is being provided that actually between the period of winters, okay, the 0.68 degree Celsius temperature rise had happened. 0.68 degree temperature rises happened. So guys, basically these blue bars, it is containing that what was the baseline temperature between the 1951 to 1980, and these orange color bars, they are telling that what is the average temperature into the present period. So within the winters have become more hotter. Fine. Then pre-monsoon period has also become more hotter. 0.49 degree Celsius rise has happened into this particular thing. Even the monsoons have become hotter, 0.58 degrees. Then post monsoon, the period after the monsoon has also become hotter, 0.73 degrees Celsius hotter. Then the annually, fine, if we see the complete year, fine, on the annual term we find that our years are becoming more hotter, around 0.61 degrees Celsius hotter. Why these particular things are happening? Only because of the climate change that is happening. Even guys, recently, actually in 2022, this from 2021 to 2022, the IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, it is releasing its 6th assessment report. Now guys, there are actually multiple reports that come, so it takes complete 1 year. Fine, in the series the reports come. So the IPCC 6th assessment report had provided in its report of April that actually the hot extremes will increase, and the cold extremes, okay, it will reduce. And as the IPCC said that the hot extremes are going to increase, this particular example we can see in this particular report where it says that every part of the year it has become hotter. Winter, pre-monsoon, monsoon, post-monsoon, and on entire also the years are becoming hotter. So guys, you can use this particular reference in your answers to substantiate your point if you are writing any answer onto the climate change, fine, onto the impacts of the climate change and all these kind of things. Okay, now particularly guys, this particular thing has, this particular article, there is one more fact also that we can say. It has provided that the maximum temperature for the month of March and April, particularly into the North India. Now what states into the North India? Chandigarh, Delhi, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu Kashmir, Ladakh, Punjab, UP. They said that the maximum temperature, it has been 4 degrees Celsius above the normal. 4 degrees Celsius. Okay, it is huge. So climate change is real, its impacts are real. Okay, so this is all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it. So just we will be using these facts in order to substantiate our answers. Now we'll move to the next article. Okay, so guys, actually this is the article from the today's newspaper. This one article is from the today's newspaper, and I will just be giving you some type of a conceptual clarity that how certain times the laws they confuse, the judicial pronouncement onto the laws they confuse. So first of all, before going in this article, I will tell you the context of this particular article. So we are going to see this particular article within the scope of GS paper number 2, children related issues, child related issues. Okay, so when we talk about the children related issues, their sexual harassment or their sexual assault happens to be a very big problem. Now guys, usually, actually I tell you a little bit of a background. Before 2012, the sexual harassment, rape of the children, sexual assault of the children, they were dealt under the provisions of the rape that were there. Now guys, the provisions with respect to the rape, they are contained in section 375 of IPC, section 376 of the IPC. So the provisions of rape are contained here. So even children were dealt under this particular law. But it was found that actually the dealing the children also into these sections, it has some problems. These sections are not sensitive to the children. Is it clear or not? So it was said that when the sexual harassment of the child is concerned, we need to have a separate act. And in 2012, we came out with the POCSO, that is the Protection of the Children from the Sexual Offences Act. This particular law provided that every individual before till the age of 18 will be called as a child. Is it clear or not? Any sexual activity, any sexual intercourse with an individual less than the 18 year of age, it will be a criminal offense. This particular act is gender neutral. Fine, it is applicable to both boys and girls. So any sexual activity with any person below the age of 18 years, it is a crime, it is an offense, and the person doing it will be punished under the provisions of the POCSO Act 2012. Okay, so this is the background. Okay, I hope you understood this particular thing. Now this background is not something which is there in this article. You should know it beforehand if you need to make sense of this, that what is provided. Fine, this is going on. Now basically guys, before going on, this article which has come in the today's newspaper, this article actually came in the today's newspaper, I will like to tell you this particular article. Now this article came in the last week, so around 8-10 days back this particular article came. Now guys, when we talk about the marriage laws in India, fine, number one, we have the laws such as the Hindu Marriage Act is there, Special Marriage Act is there, fine, but there are the personal laws also that are going on. Personal laws are also there. Personal laws means different communities, they have their own personal laws with respect to the marriage, with respect to the divorce, etc. Now guys, first of all, when we talk about the marriage, it has been provided by the Prevention of Child Marriage Act 2006 that a person can marry. Okay, that marriage will be valid if the girl is minimum 18 years of age and if the boy is minimum 21 years of age. If they are less than that age, that will be the child marriage, and that marriages are not legal, they are not valid. So this is provided under the Prevention of the Child Marriage Act. But at the same time, Muslims, for example, they have their own personal laws also with respect to the marriage. So first of all, discussing this particular article which came few days back. So guys, one petition was made into the Punjab and Haryana High Court, and in this particular petition it was asked that can a girl of 15 year, a Muslim girl of 15 year, can she marry? A girl of 15 year, can she marry? Okay, because the Prevention of Child Marriage Act keeps the age at 18 years. There, the Punjab and Haryana High Court provided that even if a Muslim girl, is above the 15 years of age, she is competent to enter into a contract of marriage with a person of her choice. Why? Because the personal laws, of the Muslims, they allow that particular thing. Okay, so fine. It means that the Muslim girls above the 15 years of age can marry, provided by the Punjab and Haryana High Court. So, guys, if the marriage has happened, after the marriage, there will also be the consummation of marriage. Consummation of marriage means that there will be the sexual activity between the husband and the wife. So 15-year-old girl can get married, okay, and then obviously there will be the consummation, there will be the sexual intercourse between the husband and wife that will follow. Now this particular article has come in the today's newspaper. Now what actually is happening, you see, basically the Delhi High Court has given its judgment, and in this particular judgment, the Delhi High Court has provided that the POCSO applies to the Muslim girls who attain puberty. It means the POCSO, it will be applying to the girls who have attained puberty, let's say the 15 years of age. So guys, a 15-year-old girl can marry, but if there is some sexual relation that married girl is making with the husband, then there could be the POCSO Act that could be applied on that particular person. Is it clear or not? So 15-year-old girl, she can marry. Let's say she got married with a 20-year-old person. Now if this 20-year-old person, or let's say 25-year-old person, is making any kind of a sexual relation with this particular woman, then that person could be arrested, can be charged under the POCSO. So what is the issue here? Issue here is that a lot of confusion has been created, a lot of incoherence has been created. It basically, what is actually the meaning here? A 15-year-old girl can marry, but if she carries a sexual relation with the husband, fine, then the husband will be charged. Okay, so these all things call for one particular reform in India. What reform we need? We need the UCC, Uniform Civil Code. So on the civil laws, there will needs to be a uniform civil code. The age of marriage needs to be uniform for all the for the communities. So there is a need of UCC. Even the article number 44 of the Indian Constitution has provided that the uniform civil code needs to be implemented in India. So guys, this is one reason which calls for such kind of a thing. So guys, if you see this article which just came in the today's newspaper, that is the POCSO applies to Muslim women, just we find this particular one-liner concept that okay, it will be applicable. But this is not the way that you should see the articles. You need to see the articles into a kind of a wider context. Clear? So that is all about this article, and I hope that you have understood it. If not, please rewind and please do see it again. Now we'll move to the next article. Okay, so this particular article we have taken from the Hindu newspaper, just fine. So this article, guys, will be using with respect to, first of all, the GS paper number 3, environment and ecology. We'll use it under the environment and ecology. Okay. Now, basically, first of all, we have seen it just, I think, a day or the day before yesterday, that the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, it is proposing some amendments to the environmental laws of India. For example, Environmental Protection Act, Air Act, Water Act. So it is proposing certain amendments to all the environmental laws in India, and the ministry says that, the government says that it want to weed out the fear of imprisonment for simple violations. Right now, for violations of the environmental law, there is punishment as well as fine. They say that the jail term punishment we want to remove. They say that simple violation should have only the monetary fines. Okay. Now, moreover, they say that these fines, actually, the fines will be there, but these fines will be increased. Okay, earlier the fines were there up to 1 lakh rupees. These fines will be increased to 5 crore rupees. So don't put people in jail, impose a fine on them. The government provides this particular thing, that the money that will be collected by the fine, it will be transferred to the Environment Protection Fund, and this Environmental Protection Fund will be used for the conservation of environment. It has been provided that actually what fine is to be given, fine, it can range to 5 crore rupees. Actual what fine is to be levied, it will be decided by an adjudication officer. So in nutshell, 3 things are being done. Number 1, they say that remove the jail term for the simple violations. Number 2, they say that increase the fine from 1 lakh rupees to 5 crore rupees at least. Third thing, they'll say that they will create an environmental protection fund where this money will be going. Now guys, first of all, this particular thing, has been appreciated by people as well as it has been criticized by people. Some people say that this is good. Actually, fining will deter many of the players. Guys, actually the environmental violations are many times being done by the corporates. So corporates, they need a biological resource. Okay, many of the corporates today, they are producing these organic, these all natural based shampoos, body wash, face wash, etc. So they are the ones who actually taking a lot of biological resource from the forest. They are doing the violation. So on them we can fine, and that particular thing will actually deter the corporate into the long term. It has been provided, guys, that actually if you see, it has been said that actually if we see in the United States, in the Europe, fining is the most common mode of punishment they use. They don't jail people for the violation of environmental law. They fine the people. Moreover, it has been provided that the proposed laws, they do not cover the destruction of the forest and the wildlife. Clear. The more problematic things are when the wildlife is being disturbed, when the animals are being killed, poaching is being done. So still the jail will be there for the poaching. So these new amendments will not cover the destruction of forest and wildlife. Now, guys, it has been provided that actually when we see the context of India, India has a kind of a very, not a very good track record, very dubious track record are there. According to a analysis by the Center for Science and Environment, CSE, which we discussed today also again, it has provided that when the environmental violations are there, Indian courts are taking between 9 to 33 years to clear the backlog of the cases for the environmental violation. Clear. In this particular respect, why to again basically have the jails and punishments? It is taking too much long. So putting a fine will actually be a kind of a thing which is desired. But again, a kind of a criticism comes. It has been said that actually the threat of imprisonment might have acted as a deterrent, okay, might have curtailed some people. But if the jail term is not there, the corporates, they will get a free hand. Just they will pay the penalty and they will keep on exploiting the forest. So this particular thing will be issue. Moreover, guys, even if you are imposing the fine, these fine can be contested into the court. Fine, there the case will be going on to the fine. They'll say that the fine is unfair, the amount is unfair. So this particular amendment that is being proposed by the government, it has both it's positive as well as a negative. On positive, the empirical evidences show that this particular thing deters people. Moreover, fines are being increased. It will be helping in bringing more money into the environmental protection fund. But a negative, fine, the corporates might get a free hand. So this is all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. So a community and a health issue of concern. So this particular article taken from the editorial section, and we'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 1, society, as well as GS paper number 2, social justice for the vulnerable section of society, and within the vulnerable section, LGBT community. Okay. Now, first of all, few days back also, there was one NALSA judgment article that came. I have discussed that entire NALSA judgment article with you, a very good article. If you don't know any about the LGBT issue in India, fine, just go and please see that NALSA judgment article. Okay. Just I think 2-3 days back we have seen. Okay. Just let me tell you, let me tell you the date on which that it came. Fine, I'll tell you the date when that article came, if I can find. Okay, so I'll put that timestamp as well as the date of that article in the comment. Okay, so you can see it from there. Okay, chalo, let's discuss this article now. Okay, so first of all, let's discuss some of the basic concepts first. So LGBT. Okay, so who are the people who come in this particular definition of LGBT? So L stands for the lesbians. Lesbians are the women who prefer to have lesbians are the women whose sexual preference is towards the fellow women. Okay, then we have G. G stands for gay. Who are the gay? Gay are the men who have the sexual preference towards the men. So lesbians and the gay, we also called them, we also, these people are also called as the homosexuals. Okay, then we have the B stands for the bisexuals. Now bisexuals are the people, fine, they have the preference for both the genders. So a bisexual women will have the preference for the women as well as male, and bisexual male will have the preference for male as well as female. So bisexuals are there. And then there comes the T stands for the transgender. Now what are the transgenders? Transgenders are the people whose sex and gender don't match, whose sex and gender don't match. So guys, gender is a biological term. So the way the basically gender is a biological terms. Okay, so it is basically a particular type of a genitals you have, the reproductive system you have or not, it will define your, sorry, first of all, sex is actually a biological term. Sex is a biological term, fine. So for example, the genitals will be the different between the male as well as female. Okay, it is your sex. The females, they have a functional reproductive system, they can conceive a child. Okay, so they are different, this is the sex. Now what is gender? Gender is actually the social concept. Gender means social concept. It means that actually we expect certain attributes from the male and some other attributes from the female. For example, if your sex is male, your sex is male, you are expected to dress in a particular way, you are expected to behave in a particular way, you are expected to talk in a particular way, you should walk in a particular way. So if you are male, then you have to be a man also. Clear guys, understand this thing, it is a very important concept. If you are a male, the male means your sex. If your sex is male, your gender also needs to be man. But sometimes people, this relation doesn't matches. By sex a person could be male, but actually he could be feeling more feminine. In terms of gender, he might behave like a female, he might like to dress like a female, he might like to wear a particular type of makeups which correspond more towards the female, he might talk like the female, okay, or the women. So basically, what are the transgender people? Transgender people are those whose sex doesn't corresponds to their gender. If you are male, you should behave like a man. If you are female, you should behave like a woman. But in transgender, this opposite could be there. A male could behave like a woman, a female could behave like a man. These are the transgender. Moreover, guys, actually the word transgender is also used as an umbrella term. In the Nalsa judgment of 2014, Supreme Court provided that word transgender can be used for all these people LGBT. So even the entire LGBT is also called as, can be referred to as transgenders. Okay, meanwhile, I got a comment. The Aishwarya says that the article on the Nalsa judgment we discussed on to the 4th July. Okay, so thank you Aishwarya. First of all, you can just go and watch on to the 4th July. You'll find the timestamp also there, and you can watch that Nalsa judgment if you don't know anything about this LGBT. Now, this particular article, it is talking about the mental health concerns of the LGBT people. The article says that today when we see the Indian society, in Indian society there is a lot of stigma associated to many number of things. There is a stigma of class, stigma of caste, then the LGBTs, they have a particular type of a stigma. These stigmas, it create to a lifelong mental illness. Basically, the LGBTs particularly are being discussed in this particular article. It is said that LGBTs, they have lifelong dissonance. What is lifelong dissonance? Dissonance means a state of confusion. So I told you that particularly the LGBTs, for example, there are the gays. The gays, they have sexual preference towards male, towards the men. They feel that this is something wrong that is happening. Okay, they curse themselves. They are always in a kind of an inferiority. They always think that they are the outliers. So this dissonance, this mental discomfort is there. Then there is a deep rooted stigma. These people are not liked, these people are hated. Then there is a discrimination with these people. Okay, then there is the abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse will be there with these people. They live in distress, poor self-worth is what they feel. Then even this community is often fearful that they will be marginalized, they will be stigmatized. All these problems are with the LGBT people. Fine. Now, first of all, the problem in our society is that the sexual orientation is never discussed. We have always made a default that if you are a male, your sexual orientation needs to be towards female, and if you are a female, your sexual orientation needs to be towards male. So we never discuss that there could be different kind of gender identities that could be there. Fine. Even guys, the transgender peoples, they have been mentioned into the Ramayana also. The Ramayana also says that the transgender people, okay, they are the ones which have given a complete allegiance to the Lord Shri Ram, but we never give the contribution, we never talk about them. Now it has been provided that basically that a person feels trapped, he feels conflicted, he feels that the gender dysphoria, that is a state of dissatisfaction that is there, it is something which is there, and this thing tortures them, this thing keeps them isolated, this thing gives them a mental harassment. Fine. Now guys, but there is a no solution for them, there is no remedy for them. Correctional therapy are simple, basically there are actually the correctional therapies that are suggested today. The doctors, even today the people, even they think that this homosexuality or the LGBTs, this is a kind of a disorder that is there, and this disorder can be treated, but this is not a disorder, this is what a person feels like. So correctional therapies, disorders like these things are being treated, but this is not the correct thing. Now guys, this particular article says that actually we need to bring a national focus on the LGBT people and their mental health being. First of all, we need to have a comprehensive long term solutions. In this particular long term solutions, we need to engage on these particular issues and will with the LGBT community. We need to engage into the discussion, find educational institution, communities, healthcare providers, mental health professionals, police personnel, the families, all they needed to discuss this particular matter with much more sensitivity. We need to destigmatize the diverse gender identities. Okay, everybody, it is not there that a male will be comfortable in the man's role. No, there could be the different gender identities, we need to accept them. In this capacity, the Rahat project is going on. Now Rahat project is working through participatory method onto the LGBT issues. So the LGBTs are being called, other community members are being robbed. So this is a very good example, Rahat project. Its example you can use in your answers also, that it is bringing the communities together so that they can understand them better. Then the next thing that has been there guys is that basically ignoring the LGBTs, ignoring their health, it is bringing a great cost. Now it is guys not only a matter of justice, it is even a moral, it is even an ethical issue, that there is a segment of a society which is being ridiculed, which is being discarded, and is not being given their fair share in the society. It goes against the idea contained into the Indian preamble, the idea of fraternity. Okay, so these are all the issues in this article. I hope you understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Okay, so guys, this article is taken from the Indian Express newspaper, and this is a cache article. What is a cache article? It contains some computer related and computer technology related issues, and those particular things are discussed. Now guys, however, in this particular article, just the idea of metaverse is something that you should know. Beyond that, this article just contains that, okay, how much money is being spent by this company, how much money is being spent by that company, what they are actually doing. With respect to the UPSC, such kind of things are not important, the questions are not asked actually. So you need to understand that what is metaverse. So guys, the idea of metaverse came in a novel 32 years back. A novel came by the name of Snow Crash. So there, for the first time, this idea of metaverse came. Now the Facebook is investing more than $10 billion in this metaverse. So guys, what is this metaverse? So metaverse is an alternative, it is an alternative dimension. So what will be happening actually? See, you will be wearing these particular virtual reality glasses, and then there will be an entire world, there will be a virtual world that will be created. In that virtual world, you can go and you can meet people, you can talk people, you can socialize with the people. Now what is happening guys, you go on to the Facebook in itself is a kind of a social world. Now the metaverse will be a further enhanced version where you will experience that particular reality firsthand. So you will wear these particular VR glasses, you will enter in a particular world where you feel that you are actually present there, you can meet people, you can talk with people, you can make certain friends there. Okay, so this is the metaverse. Okay, so today as we have the internet as a kind of a world, so more realistic, this metaverse is also going to be there. So guys, now the companies first, such as the Facebook, Microsoft, okay, they are investing in the hardware, they are investing into the hardware such as these virtual reality headsets, etc., as well as they are investing into the software. Software is optimizing these particular virtual spaces, etc., making it to feel more real, and all these things are going on. Fine. So just this metaverse concept is needed. Otherwise, which company is spending how much money, what they are doing, not at all important. So nothing to see here. Now moving to the next article. So guys, this article here we see that the Prime Minister has inaugurated a conference where he just talked about the importance of the new education policy. Clear? So just only the important things are something that we need to see. So guys, we'll be seeing the important attachments here with respect to the GS paper number 2. Within the GS paper number 2, education. Now, first of all, guys, when we talk about the NEP stands for National Education Policy. Sometimes it is also referred to as New Education Policy. Both are correct, but more standard abbreviation of NEP is the National Education Policy. So, National Education Policy, it is a detailed framework which outlines that how the education in India will be developed. Now, first education policy in India, it was released in 1968. Fine. After that, the second education policy came in India. That came in 1986. Fine. It got amended in 1992. And now we got the third national education policy in 2020. Now the 2020 national education policy had discussed the reforms at the level of school level education as well as the higher education reforms it has discussed. And by the way guys, this entire new education policy I have discussed already in my channel in 2020. When it came, I made a separate video on the new education policy. So if you want to understand this, there is a video actually you will find in the playlist in our channel. You can watch it if you want. Now this new education policy, it actually focuses on building the critical skills. It focuses on building the problem solving capabilities in our children. Guys, see, always Indian education system has been based on memorization of facts, rote learning, all these kind of things. But these things are not needed into the 21st century. 21st century needs the critical skills, which are very much important. So therefore, new education policy had come out with many reforms. For example, the 10+2 system has been replaced by 5+3+3+4 system. Okay, now basically the hard difference will not be there between the humanities, science and commerce. Even if you are reading art, you can take the subject of sciences. Fine. In the higher education, the academic bank of credit will be developed. It is like, what is this academic bank of credit? I'll just give you one idea. Guys, today, suppose you take the admission into the Bachelor of Commerce. Now the Bachelor of Commerce, let's say, is a 3-year degree. You have to complete this 3-year degree. Even if you drop after 2 years, you will not be getting anything. Now what will happen? Basically, it is being provided that an individual, let's say, he can, for example, complete 1 year in the BCom. He can drop out after this 1 year from the BCom. He can again pursue one, let's say in next year he can take admission in some another technological course. Okay, he can do 1 year or 2 year and he can drop out. Now he will be given credit for all these particular things. If a person is pursuing 1 year of education, he will be given a certificate. Okay, if he is pursuing, then he will be giving a diploma, then he will be getting a degree. So at one time, a person can pursue different types of degree into the different colleges. It is not needed that he had to complete that entire 3-year, 4-year course. Fine, whatever time he is spending, corresponding to that, he will be given some credit. That credit will be transferred into the academic bank of credit. And whenever he wants to go for the job, he can show this particular credit to the employer, different skills that he have acquired, and he might be able to get a placement. So these are very revolutionary kind of things that have come into the new education policy. Now in this article, provisions of NEP are not mentioned. If you want, you can see that video. Now coming back to what this article is talking. So this article had basically, the Prime Minister has made the statement. He had said that the education system actually, which was there in India, it was created by the Britishers. And this Britishers education system was never the part of the Indian ethos. Now the new education policy is taking education out of this narrow thinking and is connecting the India with the modern ideas of the 21st century. I told you that the NEP want to develop the out-of-box ideas and all these kind of things. The Prime Minister further says that the Indian ethos of education was multi-sectoral. Okay, multi-sectoral. Now guys, connect this particular idea with, as I said, that now there will be no hard distinction between the arts, commerce. You are reading arts, you can take subject of science. A person reading science can take world history. So this Prime Minister says that Indian education was always multi-sectoral. Fine, and now this particular thing has been brought by the NEP. So the focus of NEP is on the lab to land approach. Lab to land approach. Ideas should be translated into the real world. How this will happen? When the students will learn critical skills. How critical skills will be imposed? When the new education policy will come out with better curriculum, will imbibe such kind of things into the people. Then guys, it has been provided that today Indian society is suffering with some distinct kind of problems. For example, today we need to have research on the solutions of, today aging societies are there. Societies are becoming gray. The average age into the societies, it is increasing. For example, the Japan today is the oldest or the gray society. India today is a young society, but later India will also become aging society after 2050. So the solutions for the aging societies: building a better waste recycling system, managing climate change, wide range of opportunities are to be provided. So these particular things we are actually exploring, and for that we need to bring reforms in education, and the NEP 2020 is going to bring those reforms. Clear? So this is actually the connection, this is actually the content that we need to retrieve. Okay, so just we need not to read the headlines and the facts that are there. Rather, I believe that the newspaper is actually a source which helps you in identifying the interconnections between the different subjects. Fine. So interconnections of education with climate change, interconnection of education with reaping the demographic dividend, all these things are there. Fine. So I hope that you have understood this article. So guys, with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. That is all about the today. I hope that you have understood all these particular articles. So that is all. Now guys, we'll be meeting tomorrow, and please guys, the entire synoptic notes that I am discussing here, these ones, they are available on the Telegram channel. You can just download the PDF. Fine. So please do join our Telegram channel also. So that is all for today. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves.